as I see in you, the present and the future. And I reiterate that point because oftentimes we speak to young adults about the years ahead, about what you'll do, what you'll have to adopt to fix from previous generations.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight in support of Project Healthy Minds, our partners at Archwell Foundation, and the true leaders in mental health access.
The once loved Duchess of Sussex has spent years making the perfect image, the perfect style, the perfect wife, the perfect mother. The question is how long it will take before the flaws begin to appear. Meghan Markle has spent years tricking the world by showing herself as kind, unselfish, and proper enough for the royal family. But behind closed doors, as bullying claims and plastic surgery rumors spread, the disgraced Duchess could only trick the world for a limited time.
Epstein, multimillionaire, hedge fund manager, businessman with famous, powerful friends, and also convicted sex offender. Just weeks ago, court documents pertaining to his sex trafficking case were unsealed by a New York court.
And now, the biggest part seems to have taken the main spotlight in the story, that is, the Epstein case. The Epstein case is something you would have to be completely unaware to not have heard about. It had power, money, sex, and fame. At the center of it all was a man who had the power to change rules for himself and mixed with the richest and most powerful people, and he was often seen with many celebrities, political leaders, and even members of royalty.
An island over a mile away from St. Thomas, the main island, and it's out there and it's isolated. He purchases that, right? Then he owns the jet.
Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire social figure whose rich lifestyle made many people feel jealous and attracted people from all walks of life. But behind all the shine and luxury, there was a dark secret that some people knew about in private. What looked like something to admire was actually a cover for one of the most shocking sex trafficking cases of our time.
Get off. It's not like a person who's on the island can just say, okay, I'm going to swim to St. Thomas.
The devil wears two faces. For Epstein, the mask came off when, after years of rumors and accusations against him, he was finally arrested in 2008. But then he was released easily with only a 13-month prison sentence after pleading guilty to a few small charges. Even after this, Epstein did not disappear quietly because he still had strong connections to rich and powerful people, including Prince Andrew.
Considered a minor for prostitution.
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
His lawyers had worked out a deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office.
It was more evidence of the fact he was powerful and he could fix what everything came up.
This case was one of the worst failures of the criminal justice.
The two have been seen together many times at parties and fancy events, and their friendship definitely made people curious. It didn't help that they were caught on camera walking casually through Central Park in early December 2010.
And convicted child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. We know Prince Andrew got to know Jeffrey Epstein in 1999. We know that he saw him fairly regularly.
Very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweat.
However, Prince Andrew strongly denied this, using what is now seen as one of the most unbelievable excuses. He said he could not sweat at that time, as a response to the girl's claim that he was sweating heavily while dancing with her. He also said he had no memory at all of ever meeting her. Then 2019 came, and Epstein was put on trial again for sex trafficking, but this time on federal charges. But 1 month later, the once-admired billionaire's social figure was found dead inside his jail cell. To some people, this was just a clear case of suicide. The man who was once on top of the world. His empire was falling apart. His carefully made image was being destroyed. But for others, this event came with many conspiracy theories.
Prince Andrew had a relationship of some sort with Virginia Roberts. She is the woman that Prince Andrew's got his arm around in this photo.
Go to the United States, but I didn't have much time with him. I suppose I saw him once or twice a year, perhaps maybe maximum of 3 times a year.
After his death, the focus stayed on Prince Andrew, who, trying to defend himself and save his reputation, did a BBC interview, which had the opposite effect. Many people called the prince arrogant and out of touch, and news outlets like The Guardian called it a huge mistake. After this disastrous interview that became famous for all the wrong reasons, the prince's reputation fell overnight, and he quietly stepped back from his royal duties. Even though he openly said all the allegations were false and that he had nothing to do with the girl, in 2022, Prince Andrew quietly settled Giuffre's lawsuit for millions of pounds without admitting guilt, but he did acknowledge that she had been unfairly attacked by the public.
We're taught that predators are old men in alleys. You're not told that a friend, a social...
Then, in 2025, Prince Andrew was officially stripped of his royal titles: Prince, Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, and Baron Killy, and he will no longer be allowed to be called His Royal Highness. This was done by the current king, King Charles, and he was also made to leave his Windsor mansion.
Call him Prince Andrew anymore. His big brother, the king, stripped him of his titles today, which also included Earl of Inverness and Knight of the Order of the Garter.
They say it takes 2 to tango, and in this disturbing case, Epstein wasn't the only name making headlines. Enter Ghislaine Maxwell, the British socialite who became a sex offender. She was once a key part of Epstein's scheme and now sits in prison serving a 20-year sentence. Even in prison, the disgraced socialite hasn't stopped talking about this case, what happened, and the people who were involved.
But by going to police, Maria felt the full force of Maxwell's fury. Terrified, Maria went into hiding and gave up her art career. What sort of threats has she made against you?
Originally, it started with things like, I'm going to burn your art.
She, the daughter of publishing tycoon Robert Maxwell, was a socialite who appeared in both London and New York. The tycoon's daughter was admired by some and feared by many. Her father loved his daughter and helped her rise in high society. She was seen with famous people like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and many others. Despite a difficult childhood, with her brother having a terrible accident that put him in a coma a few days after he was born, and then dying on her 10th birthday, the daddy's girl grew into an important and influential figure in British society.
Everyone, including his family. However, Ghislaine was reportedly his favorite child.
I think she was a little spoiled. I think I could see that.
After Maxwell purchased the Oxford United Football Club, he gave...
How did one of the most important elites in British society become one of the most hated women ever? It started with the death of her father on his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine. It was an apparent suicide off the coast of the Canary Islands. Shortly after, her relationship with Epstein began. Soon after this, she started recruiting and grooming teenagers for his abuse.
In the trial of Jeffrey Epstein's former confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, longtime Epstein associate, is guilty of all but one charge she faced.
In 2022, Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years for sex trafficking minors with Jeffrey Epstein. Prosecutors said that she helped and took part in the crime, which led to her being convicted on multiple counts: sex trafficking conspiracy, sex trafficking of a minor, and conspiracy to lure and transport minors for illegal sexual acts. From having the world at her feet, able to live without a care, she is now watched by guards instead of cameras, with nothing but time and maybe regret. In August 2025, she was moved from a federal women's prison in Florida to a lower security prison camp in Texas, and she hasn't stopped talking since being locked up. Now, why is the woman at the center of a scandal that shocked the world, under the guise of glitz and glamour with a royal involved, dragging another royal into the situation?
The one-time madam of billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was last year convicted of sex crimes against underage girls. Her victims hoped a jail cell would silence her. Turns out they were wrong. As well as appealing her 20-year sentence, Maxwell has now begun a concerted campaign.
The failed jam entrepreneur is at the center of another scandal with Ghislaine Maxwell, mentioning Meghan Markle and hinting at a life before the spotlight, a life she kept hidden from the cameras, which could ruin the perfect image she has spent years building. Meghan, who has created her public identity as someone who went from a struggling actress to the people's princess, is always seen supporting charities and humanitarian causes. She knows how to make every public appearance meaningful while keeping her position as a modern-day advocate. Even the walls of a prison cell couldn't stop the disgraced Maxwell from mentioning Meghan. She claims to know about Meghan's life before joining the royal family.
Criticizing its runny texture. Turns out it's not actually jam. Under FDA regulations, it's technically a...
She allegedly had a front row view of the terrible acts committed by the convicted sex offender, along with his partner. Yet, she stayed silent for a long time and deceived the world, including her husband. In addition, she is also said to have been close friends with Prince Andrew during the time of his alleged involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and supposedly knew Virginia Giuffre.
18 years old when she was assaulted by Epstein, said of his strategy, Jeffrey preyed on girls who were in a bad way, girls who were basically homeless. He went after girls who he thought no one would listen to, and he was right. The girls, who are mostly between the ages of 13 and 16.
This puts a whole new perspective on the Duchess of Sussex, who has built her brand on freedom, originality, and motivational messages. Many people can't help but see this as a sharp contrast to what Maxwell is saying. It all began with allegations made by Ghislaine Maxwell about a document, a CV, which claims that Meghan knows more than she has been telling the world.
Confessions of a Female Founder, as I was building this, I'd always loved the podcast, How I Built This. And I thought, could we do something that feels a little bit like the tenor of how I'm building this?
This controversy adds to the long list of things that have damaged the carefully built image of who we now know as Meghan Markle. Some of her supporters see this as another smear campaign aimed at ruining her reputation and bringing her down. Others believe that it fits together and makes sense.
Much of it directed at Meghan is fierce. It hasn't yet progressed to off with her head, but it's still a major...
But what's even more interesting is Meghan's loud silence. One thing the Duchess is known for is speaking her mind. She's very vocal and doesn't hold back from responding to any rumors or smear campaigns meant to damage her. This is clear from her interviews, documentaries, and other projects she has used to control the story and respond to rumors before they could hurt her reputation badly. But ever since Maxwell's accusations, there has been no carefully written press release, interview, or cryptic social media post. Absolutely nothing. So what does this mean? They say there's no smoke without fire. What if Maxwell's allegations have some small bit of truth? And if they do, why did the Duchess think the world would never find out? Did she believe that her image as a lover of world peace and a do-gooder would erase her life before the spotlight? Or is this just Maxwell trying to drag everyone down now that she is where she is? So where does this leave Meghan Markle?
It started so well. A dashing prince with the love of his life.
Apart from, I dare say, Meghan, look at the expression on her face. She seems kind of pleased, really, as if maybe she's got what she wanted.
A duchess who rose from Hollywood obscurity to the royal halls is now facing whispers from the darkest corners of high society. Whether this so-called Maxwell CV is real or not, the timing could not be more explosive. Is Ghislaine Maxwell simply desperate for attention behind bars, trying to claw her way back into relevance by dragging another royal name through the mud? Or has Meghan's carefully polished past finally come back to haunt her? For years, Meghan has controlled her story, but this time her silence might be saying more than words ever could. And if there's one thing we've learned from royal history, secrets don't stay buried forever. Only time will tell if Meghan's royal fairy tale has finally reached its breaking point, or if this is just another chapter in the never-ending royal drama. Until the truth comes out, one question lingers in everyone's mind. Is Meghan Markle the victim of another smear campaign, or has Ghislaine Maxwell just cracked the royal facade wide open?